Get ready, because we're about to explore this really cool idea that your path to deep, refreshing rest actually starts, well, in your gut. Just look at this number, 95%. I mean, that's huge, right? That's how much of your body's serotonin, one of the most important chemicals for sleep, is actually made inside your gut. Welcome to Sleepedia, a corner of the internet dedicated to the science of sleep and circadian rhythms. And today, you and we're going to challenge everything you thought you knew about where sleep really begins. For years, for decades, we have treated sleep like it's a brain-only thing. Turn off the lights, quiet your mind, and that's it. But what if we've been looking in the completely wrong place this whole time? What is the real command center for rest? Is actually your digestive system. It sounds wild, I know. So let's pull back the curtain on what we're calling sleep's secret headquarters. Turns out it's not some quiet, top-down command center. Nope. It's more like a super busy hub of conversation that's happening like 24/7 between your gut and your brain. Yeah, this really just flips the whole script. The old way of thinking was that the brain was the boss, just sending orders down. But the new science? It shows it's a bustling two-way dialogue. And get this, your gut actually sends way more messages to your brain than it gets back. So it's less of a command and a lot more like a constant negotiation for rest. So how in the world does this negotiation happen? Well, it's through something called the vagus nerve. Think of it like a biological superhighway that directly connects your gut and your brain. And the traffic on this highway? It's chemical signals from the tiny microbes in your gut. If they're sending out calm, happy signals, your brain gets the message to power down. But if they're sending frantic, stressed out signals, your brain stays on high alert. So if the gut is sending all these signals, which one is the most important for sleep? Well, that would be serotonin. Let's dig into how your gut is basically the body's main serotonin factory and how it builds this crucial chemical bridge to a good night's sleep. Most of us hear serotonin and think, happy chemical, right? But its role in sleep is absolutely critical. It's the direct precursor to melatonin. Let me put it this way. The takeaway is simple. No serotonin means no melatonin. Your brain literally cannot make the sleep hormone if it doesn't get the raw materials shipped up from your gut. Just think of all your gut bacteria as a little construction crew. Their main job is to take the food you eat, and from that, build vital things like neurochemicals, especially serotonin. And here's what that looks like. When that construction crew is healthy, diverse, and well-fed, they are super efficient. They're just pumping out tons of serotonin. But if that crew is stressed out, or maybe they don't have the right tools, or they're just imbalanced, production plummets. And this is why you can feel completely exhausted, but your body just doesn't have the chemical keys it needs to unlock deep sleep. But wait, the story gets even more fascinating, because it's not just what your gut bacteria are doing, but when they're doing it. That's right, your gut has its very own bedtime. So the fancy scientific term for this is microbial circadian rhythmicity. But really, all that means is that your gut microbes run on their own 24-hour clock, completely separate from your brain's. During the day, you've got the digestion crew on the clock, but at night, a totally different repair crew wakes up to do all the maintenance on your gut lining. So what happens when we mess with their schedule? We basically give our gut jet lag. Just look at this timeline. By 8 p.m., your gut is winding down, getting that repair crew ready. But then, boom, 11 p.m., a late-night snack shows up. Suddenly, the daytime digestion crew has to clock back in for overtime. Now it's 2 a.m. when your brain desperately wants to be in deep sleep, but your gut is wide awake, sending these hey, time to work signals up that superhighway, keeping you stuck in a light, restless sleep. All right, now for the real magic. We've talked about what the microbes build, but what about what they leave behind? It turns out that one of their waste products is actually one of the most powerful sleep aids you've probably never even heard of. And here's how it's made. The production line is incredibly simple. It all starts when you eat foods that are rich in fiber. Your good gut bacteria see that fiber and they start to ferment it. And in that process, they release this short-chain fatty acid called butyrate. This little molecule is so important that it can travel all the way up to your brain and directly tell it how to sleep. So what happens when this butyrate gets to the brain? Well, it's not about getting more hours of sleep. It's about getting much higher quality sleep. It actually boosts your physically restorative deep sleep. It improves the density of your REM sleep, which is kind of like an overnight emotional car wash for your brain. It processes the day's events, which helps lower anxiety and even boost creativity. What happens when the system is broken? How do we fix it? Well, that brings us to our final section, how to restore what we can think of as our internal dream garden. You know, so many people can trace their sleep problems back to a time they had to take a round of heavy antibiotics. And this quote explains why perfectly. Antibiotics can absolutely be life-saving, but they often act like a scorched earth campaign on your microbiome, wiping out the good, helpful bacteria right along with the bad. And this is what leads to that awful, frustrating, wired but tired feeling. I think we all know what that's like. You're physically exhausted, but your mind just will not shut off. And this is often because the specific bacteria that produce calming signals, the ones that act as your brain's natural brakes, have been seriously depleted. But here's the really hopeful part. The new frontier in sleep science is this field called psychobiotics. And these aren't just any old probiotics. They are specific, targeted strains of bacteria that have been clinically shown to restore that gut-brain connection and really improve mental and sleep health. It's like replanting the exact species your dream garden needs to truly flourish again.